Good afternoon everyone, I'm Dr. Dhanraj Chand, resident in the Department of Dermatology at Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad.
And today I wish to discuss the procedure of microblading of the eyebrows, which is helpful in treating patients who have decreased density or complete loss of their eyebrows. Today we have a 40-year-old female who is interested in enhancing her eyebrows. We start with marking the ideal eyebrow position according to her preference and the existing eyebrow position. We first get the midline marked, which will help us in achieving basic symmetry with both the brows. The important points that we need to mark while designing the shape of the eyebrows include the angle point, from where the eyebrows turn down laterally, the medial border and the lateral border. The lower point of the medial border is arbitrarily chosen on the line coming up from the inner part of the ala of nose and on the point where the bone dips into the orbital cavity. Then we mark the medial border, which is usually 0.5 to 0.6 mm thick. The angle point usually lies on the line passing through the ala of the nose and the center of the pupil, and the lateral point lies on the line passing through the ala of the nose and the lateral canthus of the eye. The lower border of the eyebrow is then marked and the eyebrow markings are then completed. Both sides are measured from the midline for general symmetry, and slight asymmetry is usually tolerated as a rule of nature. Checking the distance of each point from the midline usually helps us in maintaining the symmetry and making sure that the eyebrows look natural and equal on both the sides.
We'll quickly go through the bare minimum instruments that are required for the microblading of eyebrows. We have blade holders, the pigment holder, the pigment and the blade, and a marker or a liner.
The blade,
it has multiple needles which are linearly arranged, creates a line on it but doesn't incise the skin completely because it's multiple needles and not a single blade. So even if it's called microblading, it's actually needles arranged linearly. These are the pigments. The company that I am using is BioTouch. It's an American company, and right now I have two colors of this. This is the chocolate and this is the dark brown. There's also a black. So in the Indian skin, the chocolate and the black color is what we use because it gives a better contrast. The dark brown which is there is still lighter when we use on the Indian skin. In only type 3 skin or a bit less we can use this. Otherwise, most commonly the chocolate and the black is what we use. This is the blade holder that we have. A blade holder is helpful in holding the blade. We can also use this, which is available commonly, or online we have multiple ones. I'll just show how we attach the blade to it. We have to create a obtuse angle so that the blade holder doesn't come in the line of view. We put it like this and create an obtuse angle like this, about 155 to 165 degrees. We keep the blade in this and go on tightening it. The screw inside it tightens it. So we have this, the longest needle is towards the obtuse angle which is created with the blade, and this is how it looks once it's placed, and we hold it like this on the skin, and this is how the strokes are done once we hold the needle. We are towards the scalp of the patient, the head of the patient, and the eyebrows are in an inverted manner. This is a pigment holder. It can be of any size. We have a large one, we have a small one. This has a ring which can fix onto the finger, and then we can use it more conveniently, or we can also have a smaller one in which there's less wastage of the pigment, and we can just keep it and the pigment is stored in this. We dip it into the pigment and then create the strokes.
the procedure is done under topical anesthesia, and once the effect of the anesthesia is on, we start the procedure. The objective of the procedure is to create linear strokes which mimic natural eyebrows and deposit the pigment into these strokes in the upper dermis.
नाही दुखत.
नाही.
Because the blade is actually a linear array of needles, when we brush it on the skin, it creates a scraping noise, which we can clearly hear in this video. In patients with reduced density, it becomes quite easy to create the strokes. We just have to follow the existing hair directions. This helps in merging our strokes with the eyebrows already present. After one pass, the skin is then stretched perpendicular to the strokes, and then the pigment is massaged in further the strokes for better pigment penetration. Procedure is then repeated on the other side too. The direction of the hair follows this general principle. In the medial one third, the hair generally points straight up. In the middle one third, the hair are horizontal but cross hatch in a typical way to create a bristle like pattern.
गरीबाचा मला आशीर्वाद लाभ.
In the lateralmost one third, the hair point towards the apex, lateral point, and converge into a pointed acute triangle. After the first pass, the pigment is then wiped off to see the strokes. A second pass is then performed in order to fill in the gaps which may be seen left out during the first pass. They are filled in, avoiding any overlap. Overlap makes the cuts deeper and later leads to smudging of the pigment and unnatural looking brows. The gap between the two strokes is usually kept 0.1 millimeters so as to make the brows look most natural. If it's less than that, then there's overlap and smudging.
We're now done with the procedure of microblading, and now we'll just take a closer look at how it looks from near.
A second touch-up sitting is always recommended in order to fill up any gaps. It's always better to underdo in the first sitting and make up in the second one, rather than to overdo in the first sitting and repent later. This is how the patient looks immediately after the procedure. We expect about 20 to 30% fading after the first week to reach the eventual color. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.